like you've seen it a million times.
Hello, hello! Welcome back to American Truck Simulator. I'm David Steele, and here's me truck. Let's take another quick view at this beauty. This is the International 9800, and today we've gone for the high roof model. Look, there's a broken texture on the dashboard. That's the GPS unit. So, that's me swerving all over the road, yes. We are on our way up to 55. At least that's the theory. We may not get there before we got to slow down. In fact, you know what? Let's completely kill the power and let's coast up to this next speed limit. Whoa. Be a little tender with the controls, David. Alright, let's make the truck sound a little quieter. That should make a difference. Okay. We are doing some heavy hauling today. Well, I say heavy hauling. We're hauling nearly 59,000 pounds of cargo. Yeah, I gotta get my speed down. And yeah, boy, can you feel the weight on this thing. Behind me, on a trailer that I promise you is... Oops. Bit of a gusher there. Okay, that's funny. I'm gonna have to stop and actually look at this. I'm sorry everyone that it's inconveniencing, but they're all stood around wondering why it's blowing water everywhere. Yeah, you bust a pipe, sir. Okay, that's probably quite realistic. Anyway, where were we? Yeah, we're trying not to be late. This may be an urgent delivery. Let me see. Oh no, I've got plenty of time. I turned off fatigue simulation for this particular run because I really wanted to do it during the daylight. But my driver needed a bit of a rest, or needs a rest. It was a couple hours, and I really didn't want to run this trip at night. That's a very pretty church. That is very pretty. Again, let's get off the side. Anyway, yeah, so I really didn't want to run this trip at night, but I wanted to share this trip because this is part of a test for a new version or new rating of the Cummins M11. Under the hood, or I suppose under the floor of the International 9800 is a Cummins M11 with 400 horsepower. Okay, I mean, no great shakes, but for its generation, this appears to be the highest spec M11 that I know for absolute certain was installed in heavy-duty trucks. Now I say for absolute certain, let's go ahead and get my cruise control on. I told her to get me up to 55. The reason why I say for absolute certain is, depending where you read, the 500 horsepower version was also available for heavy-duty trucks, or was a recreational vehicle and possibly a fire engine or emergency vehicle option only. I'm still in two minds about whether I really want to include the 500 horsepower in the Steele Productions Engine Pack, the 500 horsepower version of the M11. Because it's a lot of fun to hoof around in that 500 horsepower engine. It does have quite a different feel compared to even the 400. But I already have one unrealistic engine in the engine pack, and that's the 2150 horsepower Caterpillar 3406E. And if you've never tried that truck, go ahead and give it a go, because, or that engine I should say, because it's a lot of fun. I would say it's controllable. I mean, compared to some of the ludicrously powered engines I've seen, it's kind of controllable. But you're still going to be in the trees, or in the other lane, or however you're going to be it, because it is, it's a little powerful. But we're getting off topic. I'm going to get my speed, I've set my cruise at 45 here, and it's going to drop down to 9th. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So let's get my speed down a little bit more. I'm using the engine brake, as you can hear. Oh, that's a little wayward there on my controls. Okay, so that's my cruise at 30. Now I'm going to take it steady over these curves, because cabovers and I don't always mix on a twisty, hilly road with a heavy cargo behind me. I would say let's just leave it at that, but that they have some interesting handling characteristics. And what I mean by that is they have a habit of falling off the road when I'm steering it. And yes, I know, that's me. That's not the cab over. But I have an interesting habit of falling off the road. Maybe I should phrase it like that. Let's see, I'm going too quickly. My game's lagging a little bit as well. Ah, now look at this. On the right is some electric charge points. And these have been popping up more and more as with updates to the game. Again, I'm getting sidetracked. Okay, so let's just really want to bob it down here, like so. I don't want to go crazy. Okay, for me, nothing coming. So here we go. Alright, this is going to be a particularly hilly, twisty section of road, so the other reason for turning off the whole time simulation thing, or fatigue simulation, is there's a lot of pressure to just go around these corners just a little bit too quick, and then I crash. And that, though you might come for the wrecks, I actually want to complete this journey in one piece. I think it's a bit more satisfying to manage that. And yeah, I'm not going to say that we're struggling with this cargo, but you can definitely feel the weight. See what I mean by the trailer, like, compensating for something that's maybe, I mean, it even says long load. It is my own trailer today, and of course, I had to color match it to that rather charming beige color that we've got the truck in. It doesn't look so bad. I'm not normally a fan of beige. But I guess if we call it slightly sour cream, I mean, maybe that kind of helps. Maybe. I may be getting sidetracked. Yeah, so I really wanted to complete the run today in daylight, and ideally not in bad weather. I think my rain is set to 25% chance, and if it rains, it's not something I'm telling it to do. Go. So 400 horsepower under the hood, or underneath my seat, depending on where exactly the engine is in this particular truck. We have a 10-speed direct drive transmission. It's a manual, but I am using it in automated mode. And it's not the Ultra Shift that the stock game comes with. This is an Eaton manual box from the real Eaton Fuller transmission mod. Information about that is in the description below the video. You need to, I think you still have to add the truck as like a cast add-on. It's really easy to do, and means you can access all of the I think it's either 1,300 or 1,700 gearboxes. Enormous choice there to play around with ratios, but it's a direct drive, and it's a 285 final drive. What does that all mean? It means roughly 15 to 1600 revs at 65, and at 55 you're looking at about 1300. So it's quite a sensible set of ratios for the M11, possibly slightly tall. Well, it's a bit tall for heavy haul, but it's within the M11's capability to cruise along at 55 on a flat road, certainly, and use top gear. Of course, this is not a flat road, and so I'm working it not as hard as I could be. It's a little hard to see the speedometer, but we're doing just under 50. And like I say, I really want to take it fairly steady today, so I'm going to lift off here. I'm wanting to watch how the transmission behaves. I'm going to use some fancy words that makes me sound smarter than I really am, but under transient load conditions, there you go. Basically, I want to see how smoothly it goes up and down the gearbox. With a bit of weight behind me, on a road that is not flat. So I want to just make sure that it's not whipsawing, and I talk about whipsawing a lot in my videos. It's not a reference to 50 Shades of Grey, or anything of the sort. When the gearbox whipsaws, what that means is it changes gear, and then within a few seconds it changes back to the previous gear it was in, and then maybe it'll change again, and it whipsaws. It sort of goes up and down those ratios. There are some mod engines that whipsaw. Now, it is very difficult. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's very difficult to tune whipsawing out of all engines, because there's so many variables that it might take into account. You've got different transmissions that are being used. So, are you using an 18-speed? Are you using a 10-speed? Are you using a 9-speed? Are you using a 6-speed auto? Are you hauling heavy? Are you hauling light? Are you hauling bobtail? Is there nothing behind you? That's what bobtail means, if you weren't clear on that. And it can be difficult to tune. Okay, get off the side, David. It can be difficult to tune an engine so that it doesn't just whipsaw around. Some of the super short ratios, like some of the Macs, especially in reverse gear, they whipsaw. So you might start to back up in first gear. You rev it, it changes to second gear, and then if you're feathering the throttle, it goes right down to first, up to second, and it's just really uncomfortable. I really want to avoid that. And generally, if the ratios are fairly spread out, it's quite easy. It's easier to not whipsaw. If you've got an 18 speed and you're running quite a short final drive, so maybe a final drive in the 4s or the 5s especially, you might find that you could whipsaw up and down the range a lot. Now, this gearbox is none of the above. It's got 10 fairly well spaced out ratios, and it's got a fairly tall final drive. If it whipsaws with a heavy load on a power throttle on a hilly, twisty road, the engine definition is really not working very well. It shouldn't whipsaw, but you're along for the ride just in case it does. So far, it's been behaving itself, which is good. Otherwise, I mean, the International 9800 is one of those trucks, one of those mod trucks that I've had an appreciation for since it first came out. I'm not going to say that it's the most handsome truck around. It has slightly odd proportions. It's an unusual cab over in that the wheel is behind the driver, and there's quite a lot of nose in front of where you're sitting. I don't think it's ugly. Looks almost European, and it's a little odd to see these on the road. It's not quite as maneuverable as some of the other cab overs, like the FLB springs to mind. That thing is super maneuverable, especially as a 4x2. But it's not bad, and it's easier than most conventional trucks. The Macar might be an exception there, because you can get that as a super short wheelbase truck, and that thing can turn. I believe the expression is can turn on a dime.
Keep left. Okay, turn left.
So the 9800, I've always liked it, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. And the M11, I mean, it's a natural home for the Cummins M11. I've really not done very well. Oh, okay, people can still get past me. Some people can still get past me. Sort of inch forward a little bit here, see if I can help this brown SUV. Is it an SUV or crossover? I don't know what it is. Okay. I really can't see a thing tucked underneath this American, I can't see much here either. Well, I quite like the wheel camera view, and we get to go. Okay, so clutch engagement torque, that's how easily it pulls off from rest on the flat. No problem there whatsoever, and that's with a 10-speed. You've got extra low gears, or typically you have extra lower gears, things like the 13 and the 18 speed, so it's a little easier to move off the line. Careful with your steering, David. We're now at full power, And we're really not accelerating, I don't think. We're not even, yeah, we're definitely slowing down, so let's see if we can get it to downshift. Okay, it did. And this is where a 10-speed can kind of suffer. If we had an 18-speed, there'll likely be an interim ratio between each of the sort of main ratios. So that we're doing that in third high. We could have dropped to third low, or if we're going up the gearbox, go into fourth high. So it's kind of like a half gear going up and down the gearbox. It can make a big difference. Heavy hauling up a gradient, big difference. And by heavy hauling, I don't mean the proper term for heavy haul. I mean heavy cargo. I'm going to get my cruise on for 55. I'm going to get up to speed using cruise control, which disables the adaptive shift. So as soon as this engine believes it's able to haul in the next gear, we're going up a slight gradient now, so it's going to hold off. It's going to shift up into top, into 10th gear. But any second now, I reckon, as we get on the flap, there we go. And it is accelerating slowly. So it's done exactly what I wanted to do. Ow, I just need the desk. Well, on that bombshell, there's not that much going on for a little bit. Oh, good grief, we're only 65 miles out. That seems a little unusual. Huh. Okay, that trip was a little less interesting so far than I thought it would be, but I guess I was gassing away as we went up and down those mountain roads, so... Yeah. I'm going to take a swig of coffee, and I'm going to mute myself just in case I happen to spill it, and nobody wants to hear me go, bugger, or something like that. Actually, I'm going to take my exit, and I've got to steer, all at the same time. Look at this, multitasking. I'm in the wrong lane, so let's go in the left lane. Yeah, it's all over the place with the heavy cargo. Oh. Thank goodness for service brakes, right? Okay, I may have just cooked those brakes. Let's grab a swig of coffee here. I didn't mute myself because why would I mute myself? And that was only why I'd mute myself. Okay, well I guess when the lights we can see at the bottom of the bridge go to amber, yeah, like now. So a bit of service brake, take the parking brake off, and if we're good to go, yeah, we are. Okay. Works for me. Good with that. So in terms of performance, I don't have the greatest of expectations for how well this engine's going to do, because it is only 1450 foot-pounds of torque. And the more torque you've got, the easier it is to just get up moving off the line or to accelerate. Now, you do need power for those higher speeds, but for actually climbing a gradient, you need torque. Okay, I'm going to lift off here. I really need this light to change, which is about to do. I don't want to stop if I can help it.
Go straight.
Okay, come on cars, come on. Thank you. Great. Back on the power, and back to full power. And it downshifted, which is good, and then we're up in the next gear. So really, no great shakes as far as how the engine's going to perform. 1450 foot-pounds of torque it's a little low for what's probably close to 100,000 pounds gross weight, but it's also doing it. And fuel consumption, I mean, on the one hand, it's a small engine, but on the other hand, it's working hard. But on the third hand, it's also not able to burn that much fuel. The most it can burn is 400 horsepower worth. So I don't think it's going to do great. I don't think we'll even see 5 miles per gallon from a trip like this. But I also think that for say a 450 or a 500 horsepower Cummins N14, which is where the sound's taken from, just out of coincidence. Anyway, I think that would maybe see 4.5. Would that be a more pleasant experience? Maybe. Right now we are seemingly grinding through those gears on the way down. If this light goes to red, which it just did, then I'm going to just lift off completely and just coast up to the light. I don't think I'm going to get away with being able to keep it moving, so we will have a hill start here. Hey, that's okay. I wanted to do a hill start anyway.
Go straight.
Just maybe not necessarily in a video. I mean, it's pretty responsive. Let's switch to this view here. I deliberately removed the onboard computer from the truck because it kind of gets in the way and it kind of ruins the aesthetics. And with a 10-speed, you don't necessarily need to count or to see what gear you're in, because you can generally count them. Alright, so we're struggling to move off, but we are moving. There we go. I don't think it's unreasonable for that kind of really sluggishness off the line, because we're asking a lot from what possibly should have... Wow, okay. Possibly should not have kept going there. And I'm at the governor right now and it doesn't want to shift up. That tells me that there's something wrong with my power setting for the engine. Let's lift off and apply power again. Yeah, there we go. Alright, let me explain what I mean. So when you design an engine, you code the definition with the torque curves, and then you give it shift points. So I've got the engine to shift up both times there by lifting off completely and reapplying power. What that does is it tells the engine, hey, my demand for power is much less. I'm in too low a gear here. I can shift up. It's a bit of a wheeze. It works on a automatic or older-fashioned automatic cars too. See, right now I'm at the governor. This is the line haul version of the 400 horsepower engine. It's got an 1800 RPM governor. I'm going to lift off and apply power. Yeah, look at that. I managed to shift up again, and it's holding 1250 revs. So it's doing okay. I'm going to have to merge left soon. I might pick after this red car, or maybe not. I'll let this white car go around me, and merge left, like so. Okay, am I in 7th? Yeah. So, not gaining any speed, I'm at full power or full torque or full load. I'm going to be throwing diesel out the back, or out the top, I suppose. And as we crest the hill, I'm lifting off completely. Let's go ahead and signal left. Hey, we've got a green light. Now we might be able to nip through at the back end of this light. Let's see.
Turn left.
Okay, I'm going to do it. Yeah, it was almost green when we went through. Almost. Alright, that's a big help, because we probably saved a gallon of fuel by not stopping there. Yeah, we're asking a lot from a line haul engine. So that's something else that a lot of the ISM versions, not ISM, M11s, although ISM 2, have a line haul version or an 1800 RPM version. I'm inferring that that's a line haul. What I mean by line haul is it's given to a truck that's going to haul across the state, across the country. But they're also available in 2100 RPM spec, or typically a vocational spec engine. And different engines are built and tuned in different ways, but typically your vocational engine may see a bit less power at 2100 RPM as it does at 1800 RPM. It does depend on the engine, because some of them have more power at higher revs. But why do you need a higher governor if you've got no more power up there? Well, it may be that you've given your vocational truck, and by vocational we mean like like a cement mixer or a dump truck or something of that nature, you may have given it kind of short gearing, but you may have given it maybe only a 9-speed or maybe even an 8-speed. And you need those extra revs for a bit more flexibility. Now, for line haul purposes, that can be useful. Like ascending those hills, it would have been nice to have given myself another 300 revs. But where I find it especially useful is actually coming down hills when you need to use the engine brake, because the higher the engine speed, the more effective the engine brake is. And if you're able to brake at 2000 RPM with the engine brake, you get quite a bit more. You get noticeably more braking than you do at 1800. Oh, I think I got a ticket for not having my lights on, and I didn't see what that said. But I'm pretty certain that that's what it was, and yeah, I did. It's nearly 6 PM, so this isn't making me any money now. Oh well. Anyway, yeah, so the extra revs can help basically on hills. On the flat, it usually doesn't make that much of a difference. But if you're climbing a hill, and like I saw there, if it wasn't able to pull in the next gear up by lifting off and then forcing it to upshift, it would have whipsawed. So it would have gone back down a gear as the revs dropped. With another 300 RPM, you may be able to avoid that. Yeah, it does mean that you got to run the engine out to 2100 revs and then change up like a good old-fashioned Mack truck. That can be useful. Hey, this is the gold mine, the Nami gold mine, or one of them. There are 2 in the game. Can you smell the gold? Yeah, we really can't. Yeah. Okay. Let's jump back in the cabin though. I really don't want to crash into something else. Now, so I've been working on 2 versions of the 400. The 400V, which is vocational, and I'm assuming it's a vocational spec engine, but also it's a little shorter to write. You know, Cummins M11, I keep saying ISM, I mean M11. Cummins M11 400V is a little shorter than Cummins M11 400 2100 RPM. Plus I also throw in the date there as well. I think this is a 94 spec engine. This is a rough road. I'm glad I did the trip in daylight. There would have been nothing to see in the evening, and I want to just zoom up here. Let's slow things right down. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go ahead and stop. I don't want to crash. Right, let me show you something pretty epic here. Alright, so that hissing is the fact that I'm using the same number keypads as the suspension height adjust up and down. Yep, see that? This is a new this is a dimension to another world. Okay, it's really not. But what we've got here, whatever this is, it's cool. It looks like a pickup truck bogged down here. Both of them bogged down. You're not really meant to see this this side of the map, but I guess he's doing something on a tablet there. He's probably playing Angry Birds. They're checking a pipeline. Yeah, it's busted, sir. So yeah, I got a pipeline here, and then I guess the water's being pumped. I'm assuming this is some kind of mining technology, or some, I don't know what it is, or maybe they're just irrigating it. Maybe they're growing gold here. I don't know. Okay. I am, of course, over here. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time whizzing back to my truck. I think we can see what we want to see right here. But this is pretty cool. Let's jump back to the truck. Okay. Right, oh, we've got plenty of time though. Yeah, we've got 11 hours to cover a mile, so... I couldn't pull this in 11 hours, but I could walk there and get a forklift truck and several forklift trucks and some volunteers. A whole army of volunteers, but anyway. But yeah, the gold mine is a really beautiful place to hang out in the game. And there's a challenge. It's something called Gold Rush, I think. You have to do 10 deliveries to and from, and if you can't get any fines, I busted because I didn't have my headlights on, because I'm a numpty. I'll have to run another trip, but okay. Using my engine brake to keep my speed under wraps here, able to get it. The speed limit is 15 miles an hour, and it's quite easily getting up to 15. Stage 1 engine brake seems to be working good. Time for another sip of coffee. Go. Turn off the engine brake. I wonder what's up here on the left. Probably nothing. It takes a time to navigate through the gold mine and find where you need to go. There's a north and a south entrance, and a north and a south cargo center. And I believe the southernmost mine is the only one that counts towards the Steam achievement Gold Rush. I'm pretty certain it's the southern one. It's the further one from the road. Well, it looks like I identified that there's an error in my definition, because the fleet version, the line haul version, the 1800 RPM version of the 400 should be able to shift up at 1800 revs. Oh yeah, I started to explain the story and got sidetracked. So when you build an engine definition, there are 4 sets of gear shift points. You've got low range, so what the engine tries to maintain its engine revs at in the lower gears. That is probably very difficult. I don't know whether I really want to do that or not. It's 100 experience points, so I mean, how hard can it be? It can be very difficult. Well, I'm going to try it. I'm not supposed to go straight ahead, so we'll actually go around. We'll follow the sign that says this way. And it's a don't tell me what to do moment for sure, but yeah, let's go this way. Get my windows down so I can hear all the stuff going on. Let's get my hazards on so they can see me. Where's the... Oh, it's to the left here. Okay. I see it, but... Oh yeah, I gotta back it in. Okay, we might do a nope when I see how difficult this is gonna be, but it might not be that difficult. I did say how hard could it be. Maybe better find out. That doesn't seem that tough from here, right? Yeah, I mean, look at this. I'm going to switch to my external view. This might be difficult in a conventional, but I think like this... Oh, actually... I may have spoken too soon. Alright, well, let's try it. It's not that much space to maneuver, but a cab over does make this a little easier, or a lot easier. Okay, so if I point the nose a little bit right hand down, get the rear of the trailer pointing towards the back of the area where it wants to be. Now straighten it up. Ah, this might be like a ball. Oh, okay. Maybe not like a boss. Yeah, we're gonna pretend that we're a Sidewinder air-to-air missile and just, oh, look at that. I mean, that seems legit, right? Move forward. There we go. There we go. Right, that was a genuine struggle to get the thing to move forward there. Okay. That works for me. Ooh. So let's turn that off, turn the engine off, and let's go ahead and have them collect these Merhusive iron pipes. We'll see how well we did. Right, 249 miles. And we burnt 53.2 gallons. So yeah, that's just under 5 miles per gallon. What is it? Actually, it's not just under. It's more like 4.8, 4.7. Okay, I expected it to be, didn't think I'd get 5. So a little bit less than 5. Not bad, I suppose. And we did get to test the engine. We found an issue with the engine definition, at least one. But other than that, we really were using an unsuitable powertrain for heavy hauls, so I would say it didn't pass because I still have to work on the high power shift points, and I will at some point explain what all that jazz means, but not today. Well, hope that you enjoyed this, and if you have, you know what to do, and if you thought it sucked, you also know what to do. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. I will hopefully see you in the next one. Goodbye.